Hey, ladies, and welcome back to session number 16. I am so excited about today's topic because we're going to be talking about a topic that is so personal to me and so important to people, and that is breaking the fear of judgment. Breaking the fear of judgment. And I really want you to stay with me today because I know that God is going to do something special inside of you. So let's talk about this stuff, okay? So, good morning and welcome back to our 30 days of faith, confidence, and high income sales. Before we get started, please, if you have not subscribed to this channel, you're going to want to subscribe to this channel because I am dropping dimes, I am dropping quarters, I am dropping dollars, I am dropping hundreds, whatever it is. I am dropping nuggets that can change your very life. So I want you to take this seriously, take these moments seriously where you can develop yourself internally and see what happens on the outside. Okay. And also share the channel. After you watch this, if you know a few people who could benefit from this, share it. Let them be blessed by it. Let them also experience what you have experienced because you never know what you're doing for somebody. One more thing. There's a little notification bell on the channel. Go ahead and click always so that you get notifications when we go live or when we post premieres, when we have things coming up so that you can be in the know, so that you don't miss a thing. Okay? All right, ladies. So, and men, gentlemen, whoever's here. Anyway, so the fear of judgment, that's what we're talking about. We're going to be talking about something that has held so many people back from growth, which is the fear of judgment. So let me ask you something honestly today, okay? Have you ever had an idea and maybe you wanted to start something new, or you wanted to post something online, or maybe you wanted to pursue a different career? And right before you took action, a thought popped into your mind that said, what are people going to think about me? What if they judge me? What if they criticize me? What if they think that I'm trying too hard? What if I embarrass myself? I know that one comes up a lot for me. And suddenly, instead of moving forward, you stay quiet, you don't do the thing, you don't move forward. Today, we're going to talk about how to break free from that fear. I remember when I started doing ministry, tagging and sharing the gospel online. And I had mentors, and they were pushing me to share and to do things online and to go and do my events and all these things. And I remember thinking, I'm not this girl. Like, all my friends, they're going to be like, who do you think you are? And the fear of judgment was holding me. But obviously, I overcame that fear, and you can too. So let's talk about it today. Let's talk about it today. Let's begin with the verse. Okay. In Galatians chapter 1, verse 10, it says, am I now trying to win the approval of human beings or of God? We're using the NIV version too. If you were still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of God. I'm sorry, if I were still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of God. So let me read that again. Galatians chapter 1, verse 10 says, am I now trying to win the approval of human beings or of God? If I am still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of God. Let's look at it in another version. Okay, let's look at it. Galatians chapter 1, verse 10. I love looking at different versions. So that was the NIV version. Let's look at it in the King James Version. The King James Version says, "For do I now persuade men or God? Or do I seek to please men? For if I yet please men, I should not be the servant of Christ." Now let's look at it in the New Living Translation. That's actually my favorite version. It says, "Obviously, I'm not trying to win the approval of people, but of God. If pleasing people were my goal, I would not be Christ's servant." I'm going to do that face again. That's an ugly face. If pleasing people were my goal, I would not be Christ's servant. Now, this verse reminds us of something that is so important. If we live our lives constantly seeking approval from everyone around us, then we will always, I repeat, always feel stuck. Because approval from people is always changing. But purpose remains steady. Now let's talk about the changing aspect of people's approval. If God sends you and he tells you to do a thing, he doesn't deliver that message to everybody. He might tell some other people, "I sent her." But it's not like a announcement. What do they, what's it called, where they announce everything to everybody? It's not on the loudspeaker. "I have sent Danielle to deliver the nations. I have sent Danielle to develop the people. I have sent you to do the things to help my people." But just because everybody doesn't know doesn't mean that God didn't send you. But when God tells you to do something, what is it your job to do? Do it. Is everybody going to understand it? No. Is everybody going to know what you're doing or understand the way that you're going about it or agree with everything? No. Why did God give it to you and not them? You see, if you need to be led by somebody to do the things that God told you, I'm not saying don't get a leader, because we all need leaders. That's not my point. But if everybody has an opinion about everything that God is telling you to do, then who are you serving, God or man? Now, what does it say here in Galatians chapter 1, verse 10? Obviously, he said, obviously, I am not trying to win the approval of people, but of God. I like the New Living Translation. If pleasing people were my goal, I would not be Christ's servant. Bold statement, but it's true, because you cannot serve man and God. So in order to be able to be a servant of God, a successful servant of God, you have to break off, which is what we're talking about today, the fear of judgment. Now let's talk about why people fear judgment. Okay, let's get down and dirty with this. Let's get deep into this. Fear of judgment is deeply human. Why do you think Adam ate the apple? He knew better. He knew better. But when God came and asked him, I think about this all the time. When God came and asked him, why did you do it? He said, it's this woman that you gave me. She told me to do it. But he knew because God told him not to do it. Psychologists explain that human beings are wired for belonging. Thousands of years ago, being rejected from a community would mean losing safety or survival. So our brains have developed a strong sensitivity to social approval. And even today, the same wiring shows up when we think about speaking publicly, starting a business, going after ideas, getting those mentors, sharing our ideas online, pursuing a different path than others. Your mind tries to protect you from embarrassment. But protection can sometimes become a limitation. Can I say that again? Protection can sometimes become a limitation. Now let's get down to the bottom of this, okay? You are hardwired by God. Sometimes the worst things about you are the best things about you, but they're just misplaced and misunderstood. God hardwired you to seek belonging. Okay, that's true. Facts. But the thing is, where are you trying to belong? Are you trying to belong in Him? Are you trying to be a part of His community? The heavenly community, the things that God has in store for you, the community of people that God has available to who will believe in what He put in you and what He sent you to do? Or are you trying to be a part of society, the community on earth, the community of people who may not fully understand? Because when you are seeking the approval to be a part of God's community and commune with Him and His Holy Spirit and what it is that He has for you, then you will be satisfied. Even when judgment from this earth comes, you will not fear that judgment because your judgment that you fear is the judgment of your Father. Boom, I'm dropping nuggets, okay? You guys need to be paying me for this. Next time I'm going to charge you for it. Just kidding. Okay. So let's talk about the truth about other people's opinions. Okay, let's just break this down. Here's something interesting. Most people are far less focused on what you think. Most people are far less focused on you than you think. I'm sorry. That's what I meant to. That's what I wrote. Most people are far less focused on you than you actually think. I remember when I had to separate myself from specific people because I realized that it was time for me to branch out. And I put up some boundaries and I was not going to accept certain things from people and I wasn't going to be a part of certain things. And I remember feeling so bad because I was like, wow, they're going to miss me so much and their life is going to be so impacted. Well, guess what? Their life kept going. And my life kept going. And we were all fine. So sometimes we feel like people need us more than they actually do. Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "You wouldn't worry so much about what others think if you realized how seldomly they actually do." Sometimes people just say things out of the side of their neck. You see that neck right there? I know that's something that like our elders used to say, you talking out of the side of your neck, meaning you're not even thinking about the words that are coming out of your mouth. They don't hold weight in your mind when you say them, but they hold weight to the person that you say them to. So that's why as a leader, we have to be careful of the things that we say to others because we can affect people. But as a person being affected, we have to understand that a lot of times people are not thinking about us. They might go online and comment something negative on your post and not think about you again. There are people who are sitting around hating. We call those the hater crew. The hater crew. Right? There are people who do that, but a lot of people are not really concerned about you, and you don't need to be concerned about them. Most people are busy worrying about their own lives, their own problems, their own insecurities, and the judgment that we fear often exists more in our imagination than in reality. The judgment that we fear often exists more in our imagination than in reality. Wow. So let's talk about why judgment happens when you grow. Because this is when all the judgment starts happening. This is when people start having opinions. People want to say something. People start looking at you differently. When you begin to grow, something interesting happens. Your life begins to change. You start thinking differently. You start pursuing new opportunities. And sometimes that growth makes other people uncomfortable. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because your growth reflects possibilities that they have not pursued yet. Jim Rohn said, if you grow, your life grows. And sometimes that growth creates distance between you and people that you prefer, or people who prefer familiarity. I'm like, I can say this. Sometimes the growth that you're achieving, it's going to create distance between you and people. Sometimes as you begin to change, your circle begins to change. The things you used to do, you don't do no more. The places you used to go, you don't go anymore. You realize that you have something to lose. You can't just go out and party and drink drunk and go home, because the consequences bear more weight because you grew. See, that's not a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's often a sign that you are evolving. So if people start distancing themselves from you because you grew, it's not a bad thing. Sometimes you're comfortable with these people because you're not changing, you're not growing. But when you begin to grow, it incites a little uncomfortability in other people. Okay. And people sometimes begin to fight that. So sometimes you have to understand, who is your circle? So let's do some examples of fear holding people back, okay? So let's take a simple example. Someone wants to start posting helpful content online. And let's say they want to share lessons that they've learned. But they start thinking, well, what if someone from high school sees this? What if people think that I'm trying to be an expert? I don't really know what I'm talking about. So they stay silent. But imagine someone else watching quietly, someone who actually needed that encouragement, someone who might have benefited from hearing your story. When you allow yourself to be silenced, we sometimes hold back the very message that someone else needed. Imagine not being used for all of the things that God allowed you to overcome. Maybe you went through some sort of abuse. Maybe you went through some trauma. Maybe you went through some things. I know I have. Imagine not being used. There's people with your name on them. When I teach my mentorship, I talk about the name. There's people out here and your name is on their forehead, spiritually or hypothetically. And they are looking for somebody like you who they can just grab a hold of your testimony, and it will be just enough to get them over that hump. But what if you stayed silent? Who is going to help the people Who's gonna impact the community? Who's gonna be that chain breaker? Who's gonna be the one who can set people free, show people that it's possible if you stay silent because of fear of what people will think? Yeah, let them think. Let them think. So Jesus, let's talk about Jesus. Even Jesus experienced criticism. We know this, right? People questioned him. People doubted him. Some people misunderstood his messages entirely. I mean, he was talking in parables, so imagine that. But his purpose never depended on universal approval. Jesus wasn't trying to get everybody to approve of him, or anybody really. His purpose never depended on approval. Purpose often requires courage to move forward, even when everyone doesn't understand. Even when there's nobody to catch you. Even when there's nobody with you. Even when everybody left you. Everybody lost faith in you. Purpose often requires courage. Purpose often requires tenacity. What is tenacity? The will to keep going. I would say I'm a tenacious person. Because when troubles arise, when things arise, when problems arise, I keep going. I have just this much. Sometimes I have just this much strength. But guess what? I put one foot in front of the other. I take it a minute at a time sometimes, an hour at a time, a day at a time. I remember I talk to people all the time. I'm always mentoring and coaching and developing and praying for people and et cetera, et cetera. And I was talking to somebody yesterday and I said, how are you? And she said, I'm doing all right. I'm just taking it a day at a time. And guess what my response was? That's all you need. A day is more than enough. A day is more than enough. Jesus experienced criticism. His purpose never depended on universal approval, and neither should yours. Neither should yours. Do not be afraid of what they will say. You should be afraid of what he says. Because if he sent you and you don't go, if he gives you the resources and you don't use them, imagine the disappointment. Imagine the frustration. Is that the right posture? Is that the right mindset? Is that the right humble humility that we should come before our Father with? No. So let's do a practical exercise as we're coming to an end. Here's something simple that I want you to practice. The next time you feel afraid of judgment, I want you to pause and ask yourself this question. Is this fear protecting me or is it limiting me? Is this fear protecting me or is it limiting me? And then after you answer that, I want you to ask yourself another question. What would I do right now if I wasn't worried about other people's opinions? If you weren't worried about people's opinions, what would you go out and do? Would you go and start singing? Would you become the world's best singer? Would you become the world's new business entrepreneur? Would you go and share your ideas online? What would you do if you weren't afraid of people's thoughts and people's opinions? Growth often begins with that one honest moment. So here is the shift that I want you to remember, okay? Confident people are not those who never experience fear. They are people who decide that their purpose matters more than other people's opinions. Your calling is too important to stay silent because of judgment. So if this session has helped you to think differently about fear and confidence, then I want you to comment the word courage. And if you have been watching this series and you are interested in learning a skill set that will allow you to grow your confidence while helping others, then High Performance Sales Academy is for you. Okay. And we are currently hiring setters and closers. And if you have no experience with setting and selling and things like that, and you're like, I wouldn't even know where to start with that, come. I want to teach you. I want to train you. So if you would like to learn more about that, please click the link in the bio or in our little description or somewhere below, so that you can sign up for one of our information sessions where I will explain everything to you, okay? And so I'm going to see you tomorrow where we're going to be talking about, let's see what we're talking about tomorrow, session number 17, where we will be talking about emotional resilience in sales, which is so, so, so important. I'm so excited to talk to you guys about that. Emotional resilience in sales. Okay. And remember, we say Godspeed because God is the driving force of every single thing that we do. And we never want to forget that. So I will see you tomorrow. Remember, our episodes premiere at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every single day. So join us. We want you to be a part of our group. Go ahead and comment. Go ahead and like and share. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.